You are. Yo, we are live, baby. The scrap sheet. Back at it again, breaking down UFC Vegas 116, reacting to what went down last week in Winnipeg. It's your boy Jimmy with my main man, Zip Zap,
All
Boombox,
right,
the one and only.
hey, thanks for the invite, man. We got some great things happening, and what can we say, man? This time of year, man, we're just loaded with great action all around us. So it's definitely happened. This is a great time for MMA.
Yes, sir. We jam packed here at the Not Move podcast. We got draft streams going on. We got UFC cooking up. After this, we got the basketball. Not Move stage moving, man. We stay moving all around the clock. Everything we can do, everything we can get our hands on. But believe we were supposed to have an interview with AD Palmer. I don't know if it's coming now or later, but we'll see. That dude, up and coming heavyweight, keep an eye out for his name. He's gonna be a problem and
Yeah, and
wherever he ends up.
if I can add on to that, I really want everybody to take a good look at a guy like this because when you're looking at the guys of tomorrow who could make a big impact into the sport, this is the type of guy you're looking at. A guy with a lot of charisma, the crowd will likely love this guy. You know, he's a fan friendly as far as style, his technique, the charisma, his actions. He's not a rude guy in the ring, but he gets the crowd behind him. Like he doesn't need to flip off an opponent to make the crowd say, ooh. You know, this is the guy you're just generally going to like because he's a likable guy in the ring or in the cage. So this is the kind of guy that you'll want to get behind. And please go ahead and take a look at his fights. He's got some devastating knockouts.
For sure. That head kick KO from a man that size. He's like a linebacker with dexterity, man. Crazy. Um, You want to go in and break down the Mike Malott fight, Gilbert Burns fight, and we can talk about the Prohaska fight because I know we haven't been on here. You haven't been on here in a week or so,
Yes,
so
yes,
you missed that
yes.
breakdown. But
You know what? Why don't we start with last week before we get into the Prochazka one because that one we really I'm gonna dive into that one. So why don't we
all right,
start with last week and yeah, by all means, tell me what you thought, man.
yeah, Mike Malott. I wasn't really too high on him to begin with. I don't think he's like the next champ by any means, but he showed me he could do it. He struck with him. Gilbert Burns, 40 years old, man, finally called it in. Uh, Malott had a lot more power. You could tell that the speed was on Malott's side the whole time. Uh, I thought Burns could just hang in there and wrestle. He couldn't even get him to the ground, man. It was just not a good look, man. But hey, you don't really Burns. He had a great UFC career. You don't really see many of
He
these
did.
guys last as long as he has. He's fought names upon names, guys of guys. Never could get to the top of the mountain, but it was always a contender, always one of them guys to keep an eye
You,
out for, man.
you know, at his very best, Gilbert Burns was an undefeated guy, or I think he was undefeated at the time when he ran into Kamaru Usman, who was still the champ at the welterweight
Mhm.
division, who was still on his rampage where nobody was touching Usman until he finally lost. But Gilbert Burns was one of those guys that was a serious threat to him. And you know, those guys went at it. Kamaru came out with the win, and it just never came back to Gilbert Burns again. Like that
Mhm.
was the opportunity for him. He maintained being a good fighter since, but he just never got back to that status.
Yeah.
But great career, very good career. I hope he's one of those guys that goes on to become a teacher in the field of MMA. If somebody wants to learn base MMA, that he's one of the guys that people go to because his foundation is very strong, and I wish him well.
For sure, for
Um,
sure. He was one of those guys who was never scared to accept a fight either, bro. He fought anybody and
fact,
everybody.
facts. And as far as Malot's concerned, pardon me, dude. I have to admit, I thought Gilbert Burns would squeak this one out. Um, I didn't expect this.
Yeah, round three
I didn't.
KO. I was like, ooh, ooh,
I
it's a little
didn't
different.
expect this. But I wonder if Gilbert Burns had one foot out already. Well, he clearly did.
Hmm.
And it's a dangerous position to say to have in your mind that this is either going to be it or this is going to be near the end and still step into the cage. Because if you're not 100% focused on that fight, you can get taken out.
Yeah,
So it's a dangerous position to be in, and I think that's what we saw happen.
yeah. Co-main event: Charles Air Jourdain. You know, he wins a close fight against Kyler Phillips, man. That was a brawl, back and forth brawl. He thought he just kept on jumping the guillotine. He wanted it so bad, and Kyler Phillips refused to give it to him. It was a close back and forth fight, but Jourdain edged it out on top. That dude is just crazy, throwing jump knees. You know how he is. He's always the wild striker. Uh I don't know how much further he goes. Just because if he's just that relentless with that guillotine, uh better grapplers up in the division will, eat him alive. But if he gets like a friendly matchup, maybe like a Marlon Vera, I could see him beating him. You know what I mean? But some of these other guys with good grappling skills, I'm a little worried for my boy because I want to see Jourdain succeed. I like him. I don't know, man.
I will say this to you. Did you hear the crowd respond to him when he
Hmm.
kept coming after with these knees?
Yeah.
They were invested in him, which is one of the key things to getting yourself over with the crowd. Win, loser, you can lose a fight, but if the crowd acknowledges your performance, you will be seen again.
For sure, for sure.
I understand what you're saying when you say you wonder what his ceiling could be, because against the better grapplers, you keep going for that guillotine, they'll make you gas your arms out. They will
Mhm.
ride it out until you gas your arms. And once that happens, you're easy pickings. I think he has to clean up his technique, but otherwise, I thought it was a good performance.
Oh yeah,
You
for
know,
sure. Won me some money.
oh yeah, oh yeah, good victory.
Oh yeah. If you're not following the Scrap Sheet MMA on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it nowadays, I give out the picks and then the money picks separately. I got who I'm picking and who I'm actually putting bread on. You know what I mean? So follow over there on Twitter, see what's going on. I'll give some of them out at the end of this once we're done with the card. But what else happened on that fight night that was out of this world? Justavicius almost lost, but won. She was she had a tough round one where she was getting controlled on the bottom, even though she was the one with the takedowns, but she was just getting controlled on the bottom or by the girl on the bottom, but she still, edged it out. It was a good win for her. She's gonna move up. Um, not really too
You just
much from that.
you just hit on something. You just hit on something that's the one thing that bugs me about MMA. People always look at being on top as if you are in control of
Yeah, yeah.
the action, and that is not always true. You can be on the bottom. People always say top control, but
Hmm.
that's not always a thing. You can be in top position, but not be
Hmm.
in top control. And that's what we saw happen this fight. Top position did not mean top control because she was on top. People looked at it as, oh, she's in position.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, you're eating a couple of blows and the person is working for a submission underneath you. They're working control underneath. So I wasn't necessarily a fan of the judging on this fight, but it is what it is. A win is a win.
yeah. I mean,
I think it was still a good showing. I
yeah,
do.
she.
I think it was still a good showing.
I think she won two and three, but losing one while being the person on top to, I mean, she was like that. That's the thing with these jujitsu girls, man, or jujitsu in general. Like, just they're dangerous from the bottom. That's the name of the game. And that's the opposite of wrestling. In wrestling, you never want to be on your back. In jujitsu, the whole base of jujitsu is your back. So
You either got to dominate from the top, but a majority of it is positioning from the back. And you're right. When you look at fighting, just in general, you always think the person on top is the dominant person. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things you need an educated judge to really see what's going on, as opposed to somebody just riding out being on top. You really have to look at the intricacies of fighting to know what's going on.
One more fight I want to talk about from that main card that was absolutely nuts. Mando Nallo versus Jai Herbert. That was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Mando Nallo just kept on spamming that right hand and he dropped Jai Herbert, but he couldn't finish the job. And Jai Herbert came back from the freaking brink of death, turned it around and knocked him out. TKO victory over Mando Nallo. Mando Nallo, Rat Garbage, his nickname, most hilarious nickname in MMA, in my opinion. Just got too overzealous, couldn't do it, and he got too comfortable with one thing. And you could do that in an MMA fight against a UFC guy, a tested guy like Jai Herbert. He's gonna find the counter, and he did, and he was able to get him out of there. He said Jai Herbert said he wants to get back in soon, again, be more active. He's in the twilight year of his career, so that's good news for him. It was a good win. Not such a good. If Mando Nalla was a little more patient, he could have started off his UFC career with a knockout victory. He just forgot there's 15 minutes to a fight, not three.
um, I tuned in as this fight was wrapping up, so I didn't get to see a majority of this fight. Um, just from the clips that I saw, it did appear to be a really intense fight for as long as it went. So, um, I your opinion on this one.
It was crazy. Like Mando had Jai Herbert on the brinks of getting TKO'd. Then Jai Herbert came back, had Mando on the brinks of getting TKO'd. Then Mando came back, and then Jai Herbert clipped him. It
That's all
reminded
it
me of
takes,
the
man.
Ewo versus Ebo fight a little bit ago, last year.
But Jimmy, before we get into the where we're gonna go next, in the part before, one thing that I've always told you, and I've said it through and through, always beware someone with the ultimate neutralizer.
Mhm.
It's always a threat. Even if someone is exhausted, beware someone who's capable of throwing a neutralizer, because it will end the fight like that. It can turn a
Yeah,
fight around.
for sure. Um,
Speaking of which, would you like to proceed in talking about the fight card previously, the main event?
yeah, you want to? I just want to say Marcio Barbosa did make a really good splash debut, first round knockout. I don't
Ah,
know if Bazooka's even woke up yet. That knockout was nasty. Real quick, I just want to say that before we jump into that. But yeah, Yuri Prohashka, Mr. Bushido, Mr. Honor Among Men, Mr.
one
I
of a
felt
kind man,
I felt bad. I showed mercy. I wanted to, but then Mr. Yuri Prohashka, you pointed down twice. This is what I said last week. He pointed down twice,
and then
not
kicked him in the
once,
leg,
but
and
twice.
then
No,
kicked
no.
him.
After that, he pointed down twice. After Oldberg's leg gave out, Yuri Prohashka proceeded to point down Max Holloway style, not once, but people need to stop doing that. By the way, stealing Max's thing. That's another story, another tangent. I'm not.
Jimmy, Jimmy, I gotta get this off my chest. My issue with that is he pointed down twice when he knew his opponent had injured his leg. So
Mhm.
you pointed down, and what did you proceed to do right after you pointed down? You didn't throw a punch, you threw a kick at that front leg. So wait a minute. You want him to stand there and fight. You know he's injured his back leg, and you're throwing kicks at his front leg like you want to stand and bang.
And then
That
and then
didn't add up to me. That didn't add up. In the conclusion of this fight, oh, wow.
yeah, bro was moving his head around like a freaking Looney Tune character. It was he Yuri Prohashka showed head movement. He didn't show much though. It was just like this. It was very like that. I was like, "What are you doing, bro?" You just left it, and then at the end of the like, he just got caught with the left hook from. It was a check left too. It wasn't nothing thrown with like malice. It was just a regular check left hook that would have caught most people, right? But he was just moving his head around like a I don't even know what, man. Just got caught and dropped.
When you and I spoke before the fight and we were giving our predictions, one of the things that I said was beware the power of Oberg because he does have the neutralizer. And
Hmm.
what I mean by neutralizer is just understand there are people who have unnatural power to instantly change a fight. Think Alex Pereira, who was the only person to stop Yuri via knockout. Yuri's only been stopped twice. It was only by Alex Pereira
Yep.
until Oberg.
Yep.
Oberg, in all sorts of troubles, maintained his cool as
Hmm.
as Yuri is he's clearly popped his Achilles or ACL. His back leg was in severe trouble. He can barely move. He's standing heavily on his front foot and he's bobbing and weaving. And Yuri comes in and he gets caught with a hellacious hook. And when it happened, there was a quick moment of silence from the crowd to just process what happened. And then it kicked in, and everybody was like, "That was amazing."
Yep.
It's one of the best moments in UFC history, as far as I'm concerned, because of the way it went down. It was really, I thought it was really just a quality moment from a fighter who deserves their flowers, and I hope that he returns to action, as soon as possible.
Yeah, they confirmed last. I don't know. It was last Thursday, last Wednesday. That he did tear his ACL, and they did say if
Yeah.
if it would have got to the bell, they would have thrown in the towel for his ACL. Man, they were gonna throw him
Oh
out there.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, you can tell there's no way they would have let him go back out there. He could barely stand at that point.
yeah. All right. Well, we got UFC Vegas 116 coming up tomorrow, and then we're getting in heavy with some UFC action after this. We got UFC Perth, Pratis versus JDM next week or the week after that, and then UFC 328, Sean Strickland versus Chimaev, and
Yes,
Joshua Van
sir.
versus Tatsuya Taira on May 9th. Banger card, absolutely phenomenal banger card. And the Perth card in Australia is solid too, man. That's going to be going on during the day because they're actually going to do it local time for Australia. So make sure you get your picks in early. We'll be right here on Friday telling you about it, and then they'll be fighting. You just gotta wake up. But tomorrow they're in Vegas, baby, and it's Aljamain Sterling making his last push to be a contender in this division against Yusuf Zalal. But at the top, at the start of the prelims, we have hold on, let me pull this up. I have it in front of me. Uh it's we got Talita Allen Carr versus Julia Pilastri in the first fight. This is you know the common everyday thing, striker versus grappler, who's gonna win here. And Allen Carr, insane jujitsu, really good jujitsu, but she don't really got nothing on the feet, man. She's kind of bankrupt a little bit. And then on the other side, Pilastri got really good hands. I wouldn't say knockout power, but she can keep you guessing on the feet. And her defensive grappling is not bad. She's about minus 200 here. And my
Yeah.
concern is uh Alan Carr's gas tank. Yes, she can control for like a round. Might be able to get her down for a round. But then what? What happens after that? What happens in round two? What happens in round three? I just think Pilastri is able to outlast and do more damage than Alan Carr dominating on the ground. I feel like it'll be a little bit harder. So I'm gonna go with the favorite. I'm gonna go with Pilastri.
I'm with you on this one. I tend to like strikers who can at least handle themselves on the ground. Not that they have to be super proficient, but for at least in a showcase fight, like and you work your way up the card fight. This is a perfect fight, a perfect matchup for a fighter like this. So I'm with you. The favorite should pull this one out. Um, I don't really think there's much to say about this one, or I don't think there's going to be much to see about this one. I expect this to be a slow, kind of a slow pace, trudging fight, but quality win.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Next up on the card, we got Victor Valenzuela versus Max Griffin, UFC vet, 40-year-old Max Griffin. You know, this one, this could go either way. This is a toss-up fight. Valenzuela is a really good striker. He's got power in his hands, but he never really moves his head off the center line. He's got pretty good wrestling. It depends on how well Max Griffin will be able to stop it. For me, on to see how this fight plays out. Max Griffin is old. He's never been knocked out, but his chin has been tested in the past. And I'm just going with the fresher fighter. I think this could be a crafty vet play. If you believe in the crafty vet Max Griffin, I wouldn't blame you. But I just go with a fresher fighter. Less mileage, less damage. Um, he we're still waiting on the person on Contender Series that beat him to make his debut. But Valenzuela's got pretty good power, good wrestling. He's all around. He's solid, and I think he can get out Max Griffin, who's a proven UFC vet.
He's going to stop Max Griffin, but I think he's going to be able to showcase his abilities. I happen to like Valenzuela. I do think he's got some serious potential if he can,
Hmm.
if it all comes together for him. I'm predicting that he'll pull this fight out. Again, I don't think he'll stop him because it's a lot. It's a big ask
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
to do so, but I do think that he will grind out a hard fought victory.
I agree. I agree. It's gonna be a good fight. It's interesting to see that how that plays out. I'm gonna keep my eyes on that one, especially. Next up, we have what's after that? Oh, the new ads. The new ads. This was added this week earlier. Francis Marshall, Francis Marshall, 27 UFC vet, been around, really good hands, um, pretty good on the ground as well. He's going up against a 25-year-old Bellator prospect who is insanely good at jujitsu. Like this guy is nasty at jujitsu. He's got submissions. He can do that rolling iraniri or iranari, however you say it, where you roll at him and they pick your leg and they can submit
Yeah,
you like that. He's got
yeah.
he's really good at grappling. It's just he's nothing on the feet, man. He has no consequence on the feet. He's a bit timid on the feet. And against the bull like Francis Marshall, man, I don't know. That's gonna be a tough day. So I'm gonna pick Francis Marshall. Just one of my selections is Francis Marshall inside the distance, and I
Do
think he
you
gets
have the
that.
Do you happen to have the Taylor tape on these two guys? There's something I'm curious about.
No, not in front of me now. I don't know how.
Okay.
I don't know the
I would,
exact frame.
yeah, I was just wondering what their height and reach was on this one. Um, I think I might actually, oddly enough, I think I might actually root for or favor the newcomer on this one.
Mm,
Um, with the reason being highly, whenever I think of a young Bellator guy coming in, I'm thinking highly touted. Still has to be proven, but highly touted. So it will be interesting. Whereas if he's able to get inside and get his hands on you, should be dominant. But you just got to weather the storm. Can you weather the storm and control? If you're able to do that, you'll win the fight. I'm gonna say he does. I'm gonna say this is just one of those things where he will pull this one out somehow.
okay, okay. I like that. That's a big dog play. That's a big dog. If you're going with Zip, you put some your money where Zip has his money. Make some money, man. He's a big dog. I think Francis
Hey,
Marshall's
let's
like
call it like it is. You
minus
and
six
I may
hundred.
not always agree with how we see a fight going, but the fight normally does go one of the ways that either one of us see.
Yeah.
So
Next up, another late edition. Rafael Filo versus Cody Durden, man. Cody Durden, man. Why? He's already getting back in there. He just fought in March, like less than a month ago, the first week of March. Why are you? I get it. He's getting a paycheck, but he's just lost so many in a row, man. You're gonna get cut soon, bro. And I like you. At one point in time, you were good. You just keep doing these like late notice fights, man. Like why can't you get a full camp? Please get a full camp, man. Please. For Philo, insanely really good grappler. Underrated hands. He has really good hands, and I feel like he's gonna get Cody Durden out of there slowly. He's another one. I got Francis Marshall inside the distance. I got Rafael Philo inside the distance as one of the best bets for this card.
You said, why is this fight happening? Why is he fighting again? I can tell you exactly why he's fighting again. The UFC needed a body. They absolutely they absolutely needed a body, and they said, you know what? We need to go to one of those guys that doesn't care. That if we call, will give us the Cowboy Cerrone thumbs up, ready right now if you need it. That's what he is. That's not always the best play if you're a serious contender, but he's not a serious contender in that way. He's a fighter. Um,
Yes.
he's not gonna win. But I have to like guys like this as far as rooting for them and as the person they are. But he's not gonna win this fight.
Yeah. I think we both can agree there. Um, Next up on the card, we have Myra Buena Silva versus Michelle Montague, the New Zealander prospect. Just been on she's been on a good run. Myra Buena Silva was on a tear at one point in time, and then she got popped because the UFC doesn't allow Ritalin or something, and apparently that really messed her up. And she was in a close back and forth fight with Raquel Pennington, and then she just kept on losing. She lost to Cavalcanti, Jesta Vicious, but it's not like these guys are bad or these women are bad. They're some of the best in the division. And against Michelle Montague, who's unproven, she's good a good wrestler, but she has no consequence on the feet, none at all. She's coming over
Mm.
from Bellator. Um, but she's a good wrestler. But I mean, Buena Silva is really good at jujitsu as well, so maybe she can like, as long as. But the thing is with Buena Silva, she has like three holds that she goes for. It's like armbar, triangle, and knee bar. Those are her main three. But I still feel like the jujitsu is there. And this was a fall from grace from her after she beat Holly Holm. She was at the top of the world and lost to Raquel, and then like I said, she's lost those two fights in a row. But she was at one point in time one of the top best women in the division, and still think there's something in there, man. She's a really big dog on this card. Undeservingly so, in my opinion. I got to go with the UFC vet versus the fresh body grappler here.
You know what? I see this as a 50-50 fight. I don't see this being a spectacular fight. Usually when I think a fight is going to be a bit of and it's hard to say fights are boring because they're not, but when I see a boring action style fight, I tend to favor the veteran being the person to control action up against a cage or just being a person that's in a more dominant position. So that's what I'm going to go on this one. Um,
Mm.
yeah.
Both going Mayor Buena Silva, both on the upset. I like it. I like it. Not many people are on that, Zip. We're
Uh,
one of the
it-
few.
you know what? It all gets solved in the cage, but when it turns out that we're right, you people are beginning to understand our thought processes.
Yeah, so you got taught it tune into the scrap sheet, man. Get the real analysis, the real process.
Fact.
We got next up Cedric Dumas versus Jackson McVeigh. Um, this is a fight, you
I
know.
like this fight. I
Really?
like this fight.
I
Yes.
I'm not a fan of this fight, to be honest with you. Jackson McVeigh's 0-2, got submitted both times, but he was looking good against Reese. Or I don't know if he got submitted by Reese or he lost by to Reese. I know he got submitted by Ferreira. Um, but he had good moments against Reese. He's all right. He trains at MMA Lab. He's got a good gym there. He got good partners. I don't see him jumping up the rankings and being a title contender, but he's an all right guy. Cedric Dumas. Very good, athletic, explosive. Never know what you're going to get with him in the cage. You know, he kind of gives up on himself a little bit if times get tough. Jackson McVay, and on the other hand, also gasses really well. My favorite play is fight doesn't go the distance. Someone is getting, you know, submitted or knocked out, one of the two. I would lean towards a Jackson McVay submission. So my pick is Jackson McVay. I can't wait to see what I want to see what Ziv has to say. He sees something in this fight. I'm not clearly I'm not seeing it, but let me hear what you got.
Well, let me be clear. When I say I like this fight, what I'm talking about is the action that I expect. I told you in a fight before this, I didn't expect much action. I think this is going to be the opposite. I think this fight is going to be an action-packed fight for as long as it goes. Again, this to me, I don't expect this to be a. I don't expect there to be a lot of pushing up a person against the cage and then two people just stand there. I don't.
Hmm.
I expect this to turn into a nondescript slugfest when once technique breaks down. If you understand what I mean, guys who find themselves in a slugfest who aren't technically the best punchers, which makes for good fights. I think that's what we're going to get out of this. I expect to see takedown attempts. I expect there to be less defense than we would expect out of most of the fights on this card.
I hear you. I hear you. Next up, the feature prelim of the night, the last one on the card, Rodolfo Vieira versus Eric McConaughey. This is a really good fight. This fight goes one of two ways for me. Rodolfo Vieira just got his absolute head taken off by Bo Nickel. We haven't seen him since then. He makes his return to the octagon in this fight. Um,
You're being too kind by saying he got his head taken off.
he got decapitated. Let's just um he's really good at jujitsu, really tough jujitsu practitioner, but he's always been, somewhat known of being, all right kickboxing. But this is the first time he's got his chin tested like that, like for real. And McConaughey is no, he's no easy out. He's a really good slick striker. He's got a all right, all right to good. I wouldn't say. Yeah, he's it's better than all right. I was trying to find a word that wasn't all right but wasn't good. I couldn't really find it. So good. We're gonna do good. Grappling transitions. He's a solid wrestler. Solid is what I could have said. Um, regardless, he's a solid grappler. He's got pretty good hands. Uh, Vieira in the past has struggled against southpaws, and that's on the feet. So I'm going with the dog. I'm taking McConaughey here. I think I think he's another one out of the MMA lab. Uh, it's a good gym. I think he gets it done.
Um, this could. Can you give me the age? Do you happen to have that in front of you? The age
Not
of his opponent,
who Vieira or McConaughey. I know I can't
Vier.
Vieira. I can look it up real quick. Hold on. Let's see. We're gonna have to hold on. Let me just do this. Let me just turn the camera. Rodolfo Vieira age. We'll see. I think he's been around. Let's see. Rodolfo Vieira is 36 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. Um, this is a show. This I'm gonna put as a glorified showcase fight, um, where Vieira has a chance to pull this out. I do think he has a chance at victory. I just don't think he has enough horses to take him through this fight.
Mm,
So, yeah, I don't think he'll win. I don't even. This is an interesting because this is a fighter I've seen, several times,
hmm.
but but you see a fighter who has like a bit of a dog in him, but the dog doesn't maintain the fight throughout.
I
Does that
get
make
you.
sense?
Yeah.
So
He quits on
I
himself.
it's
That's how I feel about
like
Demoss in the earlier fight. Yeah, I know what you're
yeah,
saying.
so I think there's a chance he could actually win,
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't think he will if you test if you test the heart. I think he loses. So
Mm,
I'm going to say the longer the fight go, the more it goes against him. So
mm,
yeah, I'm gonna say that that he doesn't pull this out. But I like what I've seen from him when when he tries to push the pace, he's actually looked decent.
mm.
Uh, just doesn't always do so and can get caught up in lapses. And
Yeah.
that's where it works against him. So
If he struggles with a takedown and McConaughey just keeps it on the feet, I think you're right. We could see him will. It's just the danger of if he gets the back, he's gonna submit McConaughey. But
I think it would have to be early. I think he would
yeah,
have to do it early.
for
The
sure,
the
for
longer
sure.
the fight goes, the more it works against him. And if the fight gets longer, then chances are he hasn't taken him down. And I think he'll be picked apart then.
hmm I get you. I get you. I'm with you. We're here. We're on dogs. At the scrap sheet, we like dogs, and that's going to continue on the main card. JB, if you want to run ads, if you can hear me, if not, I can keep running
The
this
Not
one.
Move podcast is fueled by W Energy. Smooth, jitter-free focus, and flavors that slap. Mango, berry, watermelon. Whatever gets you locked in, they've got it. Hit up W.GG, use promo code NOTMOVED, and snag 10% off your order. Stay not moved, stay energized.
No, but Friday nights, 9 Eastern, it's the Dribble NBA edition on the Not Move podcast. We break down the week, the trades, the highlights, everything around the league. Tap in, chop it up with us, and get the takes that move the game forward. Stay not moved.
The Not Moved podcast drop is here. Snapbacks, hoodies, mugs, stickers, totes, everything you need to rep the convo everywhere you go. Limited run, unlimited style. Tap the link, fill the cart, and
Tap into the Not Move podcast every Friday night at 8 Eastern.
We're bringing the scrap sheet, UFC edition,
Every jab, every takedown, every headline.
all the fights, all the drama, all the picks, right here.
Watch live on YouTube or listen anywhere you get your podcast. Hit follow, hit subscribe.
And stay not moved.
Need some new Not Move drip? The In the Wickets hoodie just dropped. Super soft fleece, heavyweight feel, and the official NMP patch on the sleeve. Tap add to cart, check out, and let us handle the rest. In a couple days, it shows up at your door, ready to rock. Rep the podcast from the couch to the tip.
Every Thursday night, the Not Move podcast drops a new episode of
In the Wicked.
our deep dive on everything around the NHL.
Break down the plays, the trades, the stats, and the stories that matter.
Plus a few hot takes along the way.
Join us live at 8 p.m. Eastern or catch it on your favorite podcast app right after.
Same energy, same on. Tuesday nights just got louder. Ringside Rewind is live every week, 9 Eastern.
We're breaking down Raw, SmackDown, and everything leading into the weekend. If it happens between the ropes, we're talking about it.
Deep dives, hot takes, and a few surprise
And a
replays.
whole lot of arguing.
Yeah, but the good kind.
Ringside
oh, the Orphan Elimination Chamber tee just dropped. Fresh out the box. Look at this.
That print is nasty. Chainlink O, silver hit. It's tough.
It's soft too, y'all. Fits right. Little drip for the Elimination Chamber weekend.
We rocking these all
If
season.
you're part of the Not Move fam, you already know.
Jump on it before it's
Grab
gone.
yours now at Not Move Shop.
Episode of the Not Move podcast is brought to you by the MLB Shop. They have every team's gear, from classic caps to World Baseball Classic hoodies, all official and all ready for game day. Tap the link in our bio to head straight to the shop and snag your favorite merch.
The drop is here. NMP gear built for everyday and game day. Hoodies, mugs, and the Coach Common jersey in bold gold. Rep the movement. Feel the energy. Shop new arrivals.
If you're craving baseball talk that doesn't flinch, tap in with us Monday nights at 8 Eastern.
It's the Rusty Mitt MLB edition of the Not Move podcast. Breakdowns, debates, all the swings and misses without the fake fluff.
Join us live or catch the replay wherever you get your pods. Rusty Mitt, Not Moved. Stay not moved.
Attention Not Move Nation. Our first ever jersey has landed. The NMP by JB Sport Talk collab brings premium mesh, bold gold accents, and that undeniable game day energy. Plus, hoodie drop.
Today's episode of Not Moved is brought to you by Open Goal, the world's #1 backyard goal. If you love soccer but hate chasing balls into the neighbor's yard, this thing is a game changer. Its rebound net sends missed shots right back to you, and the side nets keep your landscaping and your windows safe. It's perfect for kids, for training, or just having fun.
Today's episode of the Not Move podcast is brought to you by Walmart.com. With our storefront in the Walmart app, you can get everything you need. Pick up or have it delivered.
We ordered dinner while recording, and it showed up before we wrapped.
Better good sweet corn and burrata ravioli.
Nuri protein drinks, even St. Patrick's Day treats.
Walmart.com.
Not Move, fam. Southgate edition just landed and it's fire. Check the tee. Watch out for the skis and the wickets. Hockey stick, cricket wickets, all vibes. We got hoodies, mugs, caps, beanies, whatever you need. Cop yours before they...
At the Not Move podcast, just drop the gear.
Heavyweight hoodies, premium cotton, street ready.
Caps, mugs, and more. Every detail on point.
Whether you're hooping, tailgating, or just repping the pod, NMP fits the culture.
Limited drops. When they're gone, they're gone.
Cop yours today at notmoveshop.fourthwall.com.
We back. Main card, UFC Vegas 116. What we're all here for. And we talking dogs, Zip. We're not talking little chihuahuas. We're talking some Rottweilers, some dogs, man. And we going with the first one. Ryan Superman Span versus Marcus Buchecha. Marcus Buchecha, heavyweight jiu-jitsu guy, gasses very easily, not very impressive, lost to Martin Buday. He was the king of jiu-jitsu when jiu-jitsu wasn't getting money, so he had to transition to MMA. And now he's in MMA and he's just not the top of the line guy. He gasses very easily. He was in a fight. He beat Kennedy in Jekwu because uh Kennedy grabbed the cage. That was it. He had a point taken off. That's the only reason why Buchecha beat Njeku. You know, he was losing that fight. And, you know, Kennedy's not the most active man on the feet. Ryan Spann, talk about active on the feet. This man has consequence on the feet. He's going to take Buchecha's head off. Give me Ryan Superman Spann. Or I'm not going to say round, but KO. That's my pick. Can you hear me? Am I talking? Hello? Oh, yeah. I guess my man Zip ain't here. That's what happened. All right. Well, for the people, I'll keep going just because I'm going to give you these dogs, these absolute dogs, these units. Don't be
Oh,
betting
there
on
we
these
go.
dogs.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Oh,
yeah, I was
you hear?
unfortunately I had a quick call came through, but yes, you know what? He did lose that fight for grabbing on a cage. It was one of the most frustrating thing that happens when I watch a fight is people who hold on to the cage to try to benefit themselves. It's one of those pet peeves that I have about MMA is cage grabbers. um, um, You know what? You're keeping it with the dogs on this one. I don't know if I'm gonna go this way. I don't know if I'm gonna go there, lean that way on this fight. Um, there are cards where dogs seem to pull out a lot of victories, and I think we name primarily a lot of this on the undercard. I don't know if that's gonna happen right now and during this fight. Um, you went Span?
I went Ryan Superman. It's Marcus Buchecha, man. He ain't nothing impressive on the feet, man. I know he's a jiu-jitsu world pro, all this and that, but he was losing to
On T
Kennedy and Zexishu until he grabbed the
Question
fence.
for you. How much of a favorite is he on this fight?
He's like a minus 150, minus 160. Superman, or maybe
Okay. Okay.
200.
He's a minor favorite. He's a minor
Yeah.
favorite. My thing is
What I got Span at was 120 plus
I know
120.
that span is action packed, but I think that comes at a cost of exposing yourself to a grappler. Or
Mm,
so unless span literally connects flush, I'm not sure about his ground game. Are you?
mhm. Yeah, I think he is. It's obviously not on the level of Buchecha, but I think he has good enough scrambles to escape. I think he can get back up to his feet. He's strong enough, athletic enough, explosive enough to get back to his feet. As long as he has the game plan to get up and not to actually try to engage with this guy, I think he can do it.
You know what? There are sometimes fights where I'm truly not sold on either fighter, where I'm really 50-50 and don't touch. And I think that's where I am with this one.
Mm,
It's hard for me to predict the winner on a fight like this. I really think it could go either way.
I hear you. I hear you. Next up on the card, we have Montel Jackson versus Arani Barcelos. This is a really good fight. This is the true striker versus grappler test. Montel
Yeah.
Jackson, taller, longer. He's got the reach. He's younger. You know, excellent striker. It's just Ronnie Barcelos, man. He's a really strong grappler, and we saw that against Peyton Talbot. We saw that against his other opponents, man. He's not afraid to throw it either. And he has what I like about him is like when he goes to engage you, right? He's not leaving himself open. Like how Gilbert Burns was just diving in, just throwing, trying to get takedowns all lazily against Mike
Desperation
Malone.
takedowns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't do that. He has a good first. He's a good first step with his wrestling, man. And he's got a really good Brazilian wrestling game. The frame of him. He's uh pretty wide for the division. He's got strong shoulders. Montel Jackson's skinny, but he's got that dangerous strike power. I just it's either Montel's gonna take his head off, or Barcelos is gonna pull it out on the ground. And I'm gonna go with Barcelos, man. I'm gonna go with the Brazilian on the ground, man. My worry is he's 40. We're 38, 39. He's up there in age, and at
If you push
bantamweight, that's old.
if you push him and you gas him and he doesn't finish you off, you gotta wonder how once the takedowns aren't working, what happens when a fight gets later and you're being held at a distance and he's being
Hmm.
picked apart. Can he do
Hmm.
anything from that? The name of this card should be Striker versus Grappler.
Yeah, because that's a lot of these fights. That's a lot of these
That's
fights,
that's what
especially.
this card is essentially turned into. Um, I'm usually a grappler guy, but not in this fight. Not
I
in
hear you.
this fight.
I hear you.
I'm going with the striker. I think he's gonna be able to, and here's the thing, he could get caught just by, not striking hard enough. So if you don't, as a striker, just because you're a striker doesn't always give you the advantage. You have to be able to strike with purpose. You can hit somebody and they walk through your punch because you didn't try to snap the punch. You were
Hmm.
using it as a feeler. That concerns me. Um, but I think if he's able to weather the storm, he might be able to hold them off late and be able to capitalize in the second or third round. So that's the way I'm going to go with this one.
I hear you. I
I don't
respect
think
it. I respect it.
I do have to say I don't think there's going to be many finishes on this card. I really
Mm.
don't.
Okay, okay. Well, here's one that I don't think is going to be a finish, but I think it's going to be an absolute war. We have Davy Grant versus Adrian Luana Adrian Luan Martinelli. This dude, you remember Vologden from last week? The dude who kept on throwing rolling thunders, rolling after rolling thunder after rolling thunder. He didn't care. This was the guy he fought on Contender Series and lost to. These guys traded blows left and right. These guys threw hands. It was the best Contender Series fight of the year, maybe even of all time, just because it was just a war. These guys tore it up, and now he's fighting Davy Grant, UFC vet, 40-year-old UFC vet, crafty vet, been in there with a lot of guys doing a lot of wars. Hard to get out of there. Favorite play for this fight over 2.5 rounds because both of these guys have
Mm,
iron chins.
I
So
like that.
what I see, Davy Grant, he has the power edge. He's older. He's got that old man power. He's put people out before. Uh, where Martinelli, succeeds is he's got a lot of volume and he's got a good wrestling base. But people don't realize that Davy Grant also was background is in grappling, so we'll have to see how that tests out. My favorite play is over 2.5. If I had to pick a side, I'm gonna pick the young gun, the young up and comer to take out the 40 year. I can't pick two 40-year-old bantamweights. I gotta go one or the other. So I'm, I'm gonna go with
I'm
Luan
gonna
Martin.
I'm gonna ride. You know what? I'm gonna ride with you on this one. Strictly based off the fact that I do think this is a potential showcase fight to be like, hey, everyone, you really need to take note of this guy. He has a fan friendly style. He's going to bring action. But in order for us to really see what his upper limit is, we got to put him up there with a potential gatekeeper to know what we're dealing with. And that's the kind of fight he's going to find himself in. He's going to be in the cage with a quality fighter, okay, who
Hmm.
can pull this out. But this is also the type of fight that he's going to need to dig down and look good in if he really wants to really wants to be a contender in the division. And I
Yeah,
think he'll do so. I think
and
he'll do so.
I said no small dogs, but he literally is a small dog. He's plus 104, so he's barely a dog. He's a Chihuahua, and I said no Chihuahuas. I
It's like,
lied.
it's like 104 isn't a real dog. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Chihuahua.
It's basically even money. It's even money. Next up we got Rafa Garcia versus Alexander Hernandez. This banger fight, absolute banger fight. Hernandez is on a 4-fight win streak, coming off of two crazy knockouts. Um, but what's speculating is he got pulled from his last fight due to betting issues or whatever, because there was some
Mhm.
fraud going on. I don't know what's going on, and it's been swirling around that camp, so who knows? But what I can tell you is Rafa Garcia is a freaking monster, bro. This guy, well, I wouldn't say he's a he's a dog. he fights for your money. He gets in there. He's got the Mexican grit. He's got really good, strong wrestling. He never quits on himself. He's a strong boxer out of bloodline MMA. Who, if you didn't know, is one of I think is on track for what is it? What do they do? Team of the year. That's what they're called, Team of the year. Because Fighting Nerds had their shine a couple years back, and then this year I think it's Bloodline MMA because they've just been putting out highlight after highlight. Danny Silva knockout over uh, Curtis Campbell, Larry and Douglas knockout, Cub Swanson retirement knockout. Cub Swanson got these guys training hard. Rafa Garcia, 31-year-old. He's been around, but. Uh, I just think he pulls it out over Alexander Hernandez. I am worried about the not like Hernandez has power, but I just feel like Garcia's not going to give up on himself. He's going to always put on the pressure. Uh, I think maybe Hernandez will start gassing in round three, and you'll see. I think it'll be going into 1-1 going into round three, and I'm gonna pick the guy who believes in himself, who bets on himself, who's a dog. I'm gonna go with Rafa Garcia.
Um, I'm inclined to agree, but to a point.
I didn't do
But
enough job
no,
explaining
no,
Alexander
well,
Hernandez. I feel
y- y-
like.
no, no. I'm inclined to agree with everything you said. I mean,
Yeah.
it's that is how I envision this fight jumping out as Hernandez probably jumping out to the first round and before things start to change. And I just wonder how long can that momentum
Mhm.
carry him. Will he be able to carry it throughout the second into the third round? Um, and I want to say yes, but here's the thing. I've seen Hernandez do some
Dirty thing, bro.
just
And he's a
just
sniper. He's a sniper. I
you
know.
understand, and
I know.
that's making this hard for me to decide. Is I have seen Hernandez just pull out just wicked shots when you least expect it, and you say, "Well, where was this a round ago?" you
Yeah.
know. And it makes me wonder: was it a desperation type style that it just worked, or was he just trying to, I got one round in the bag, let me conserve and try to come back out strong, which is a veteran thing to do. Um, I don't necessarily know what we're going to see from him because I feel he's kind of unpredictable.
Mhm. I
Um,
hear you.
I'm going to lean. I'm going to lean your way on this one, but I would not be. But I wouldn't be shocked if Hernandez pulls this out. I
Me
really
neither. Me
wouldn't be.
neither. Me neither. I'm very persuasive with how I talk, man. I could be a salesman if I wanted to.
No,
Like,
you know what? I was 50-50 going into this one. I'm maybe 51-49 now. So that's
hey, man. Next up on the fight, co-main event: Norma Dumont versus Jocelyn Edwards. This is talk about top of the
yes,
top
sir.
ladies contender fights. This is going to be a banger. Norma Dumont, volume striker, seven. Won her last seven. Decision. Very dominant. Um, versus Jocelyn Edwards, who is the most improved women's fighter I have ever seen.
Wow.
She, from where she started to where she is now, her game has evolved so much. I was on her the last fight. I doubted her against Priscilla Cachoeira. That to my chagrin because she smoked her. She's on a 4 fight finishing streak. She's out here
Yes.
finishing girls, and
Yes.
Dumont is just doing just enough to get the win. It's dominant decisions mostly, but some of them are close. Um, what I like about Jocelyn Edwards is not just the finishing potential, is the fact that Norma Dumont pushes in, and when she's right pushing in, and she doesn't have enough consequence in her hands to make me worry that Jocelyn's going to get knocked out. But when she's that close, she just leaves her like legs open, or her stance open, I should say, for just a
Mm.
double leg takedown. And I think, and that's what Jocelyn is, a MMA fighter first. She's got really good hands, but she's also developed that ground game. And well, she was a ground game first, and then developed the hands later. Is what I should. That's what she's done. But her base was that, and I feel like Jocelyn's gonna pull it out, man. I'm gonna go with Jocelyn Edwards, man. I don't know if she's gonna get her out of there, but I'm gonna take I'm I'm gonna take the underdog and give you know I'm going with
You
Edwards.
know, I like your thought process, but I'm going the opposite way on this one. I think Dumont's just going to be too much.
Mm,
I like the fighting style. I like the fact that when you don't have when you're not when you don't have dangerous hands to really take somebody out, but you're able to consistently control action, which is what she
hmm
does best. And it's not like she just rides you out. Like when she gets into a position, she will work it. She'll constantly kill, like she'll constantly go for damage. I like that fighting style. I think that's what she does best. She looks for minor opportunities. She doesn't necessarily wait for, a big miss before to lean in. No, she'll throw a lot of feints, and the moment she seizes an opening, she jumps on it. I like that. Yes, I do know that she's in there with somebody who does have the ability to drop her. However, I don't think that will be enough against the veteran fighter here. Um, I like Dumas on this one. Big.
That's very fair, very fair. Um, Last fight of the night, Aljamain Sterling versus Yusuf Zalal. Aljamain Sterling, this is his last, hurrah. If he loses this one, I don't think he's going to get a title shot anytime soon. If he wins this one, he's maybe like one or two fights out uh, for his name to be in the conversation. He's fighting Yusuf
Yeah.
Zalal. Yusuf Zalal, he's a slick striker. Nothing really, he's got really good movement, but I'm just not worried about him, man. I don't think he can put out Aljamain Sterling. I think his best way to win this fight is if Aljamain gasses and he just does more on the feet. But these guys were partners before. They've trained together at several different gyms, specifically the UFCPI, and you know, Aljo accepted this fight because I feel like this is a fight that Aljo thinks he can win, man. And I think Aljo goes out there and he shows that he still got it. The Funk Master still has it. I'm going with Aljamain Sterling submission just
I
because I
think he
just don't.
pulled.
Jalal got it on the ground like that. Sorry.
You know what? I think Aljamain pulls this one out too. I'm not quite sure on what type of level of performance we'll see from him. I really would like to see him be able to bring the best of Aljamain out. I don't know if that still exists. I would like to believe that the Funk Master, the contender that we saw dominate Cejudo, is still around. But what happens to fighters is once you have fought wars and been
Mm,
involved in several wars, you just don't have those in you. I always say that when you were a champion, you normally have a championship level fight left in you. I believe that he has that. I'm not sure if it's going to be in this fight, but I do think he pulls out the victory here. I think he wins this one kind of convincingly, actually. I don't know if
mm,
it'll be a stoppage, but I think he wins it convincingly.
I hear you. I hear you. Submission or decision is my official pick. I'm leaning more towards submission, but I don't know.
Fair enough.
The law. My thing is the competition level. Zalal just hasn't fought the level of guy that Aljamain has, and that's typically how this veteran versus newcomer thing goes most of the time. It's like, well, he hasn't fought this guy yet, and then the MMA math starts going. But I'm using it here. I just think Aljo still got something left in the tank, man.
Very true, Pana. Very true.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um, I don't know if we're gonna have AD Palmore, but if we do, we'll be back. If not, catch the dribble at 9 o'clock. We're live doing day two of the draft. I'm sure we'll do day three of the draft tomorrow. Best picks of the thing, I gave them out to you while we were going over it, but one more time. Francis Marshall inside the distance, Hafio Filo inside the distance, and as well as the over 2.5 rounds in Davy Grant versus uh, Martinelli.
Gotta say, I love that pick right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tune in, watch it. I'll be live tweeting it on Scrap Sheet MMA on Twitter. Check it out. Check out Not Moved Everywhere, man. We everywhere. See ya.
For sure. Hey, Jimmy, thanks for the invite. Yo, as always, man, it's always a pleasure. Love your expertise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.